But I've actually watched the open debate here a couple of times, and I like how he actually presents stuff and actually handles his co-hosts and all the rest of it. Like, mad respects how you actually run your channel, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't really want this to be a far right. That's the whole thing. I just said, like, what's wrong with the right? I don't care about people that are on the right. I don't care about people that are on the left. I don't want this to be an echo chamber for the far left or the far right. I don't want this to be an echo chamber in general. Like, that's the entire point, is to break through that echo chamber and hear people that you disagree with. The whole point is to hear opinions that you don't like. Don't get mad. Don't report it, and just take in that information. If you disagree with it, go look it up for yourself and just disprove it, debunk it. Go and then make your own video about it. Say, I disagree with this information. People are spreading misinformation, and this is why it is not correct. And
Right?
just look
And
things
the
up.
thing
Just
is,
hear.
we've been looking, yeah. And it seems like media's actually done something where it's almost like you have to go to look for facts in different places, or you listen to mainstream media, and that's where you get your information from, right? And so we're both sitting there trying to find the most respectful people to actually have a platform that we base our decisions off of. But we're already divided by just what media we're actually listening to, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the problem though. It's mainstream media it's like a virus. The people that listen to it just for some reason are stuck thinking that they're not gonna lie to them and that they don't want to go look to see if that story is actually factual.
Mhm.
I have a lot of
Well,
friends that are like that, and I've lost a lot of friends over this
and
debate
let's
because
say
I've
that,
been called a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not, like, at
and
all. I'm an
let's say we,
anti-vaxxer and blah blah blah. Like, I've literally lost lifelong friendships because they are, I don't want to call them blind, but they're too ignorant to like believe anything other than what the TV tells them.
well,
Yeah.
what's emotional response, what's science, and what's personal experience? We all build our personal value bases off of all those things together, right? And science is basically a repetition of facts that enough times that you viewed something that will occur the same way over and over again. That's how you go from having just a general hypothesis of how it works to actually having a theory. And the theory, you still have to believe that's what makes the world tick and spin around the way that it does.
Right? No, Nick, the earth is flat. Come on.
Okay, we can argue that one too.
I'm
That's
just
totally
kidding.
fine.
I couldn't
But
even
when our
say that with a straight
conversations
face.
have
I tried
to
real
go,
hard.
when the conversations lately seem to go to you're dumb or you're stupid, rather than having an actual this is why I value stuff and why I base stuff,
Mhm.
we've actually become actually more angry and emotionally based as a country or nation rather
Yes.
than actually having the respect for other people being different, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
said that earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the whole thing between the media and the science and what's the facts and what isn't the facts, right? And it's healthy to actually have healthy disagreements where you actually choose not to. But when you actually have to go for family dinner with the family, it's like we got people on both sides of the position. Let's just not talk about the subject.
Right?
In some ways, that's healthy, but yeah, what does it do,
That's one
right?
of those you're gonna have to agree to disagree situations.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you don't love your family. It just means that you're just gonna have to disagree on certain topics. And if you if you can avoid it at all costs, because you don't want to fight, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
don't.
And
I'd
see,
rather keep
that's
my
what I find to
family
be such.
together.
Yeah, we all want to keep our families together and save face the best that we can during those times. But like, that's what I find to be one of the most damning things and one of the most troubling issues that we have. And so when you have literal family members you don't even feel comfortable enough to express your opinion around because it doesn't go with the narrative or it doesn't align with the opinions that they have. And so as human beings, we throughout society have, like, throughout history and in our society, have live together and come to agreements without holding the same opinions. If you believe everything the same as I believe, we're not going to advance as a society whatsoever, because there's nothing questioning your point of view and nothing holding it to account. You need to be scrutinized. The more that people question the way that you think, that's why I get a little bit upset when people get upset about individuals saying things that they disagree with, because the more that something pushes your own convictions to the sidelines and tries to force out your beliefs, the firmer you should have your beliefs. Because if you firmly do have your own beliefs, or you do, I'm not saying this very well, but if you have firm convictions and you believe something, then somebody questioning those beliefs should not deter you from believing that. It should only reinforce those beliefs further and force you into researching and realizing in your own heart why you believe that. If you think that masks firmly work and somebody's giving you information around why they don't work, you should go and look up that information and try to figure out why that information is wrong and incorrect and your own beliefs are correct, and find out whether or not they are. And in the end, you will realize what reality is the more that you research what is really happening. In my opinion. It's only my opinion.
I agree. Totally agree.
But that's the thing, everybody has to have a different foundation for why they do stuff. And the reality of it is, you or me as an orator might have different perspectives, but we have a different purpose as far as what we actually think we belong in society. If we actually look at us trying to go full two caste tribalized society because we have disagreements, I'm not taking advantage of your expertise in this. I like to study agriculture and animals. Karen knows every back road from here to Timbuktu.
Absolutely.
Those are different expertise that not anybody can just pick up like that. So if you and me don't have expertise, or can actually trust each other to actually use those expertise, then what's the point of society? It brings out different things in different people, right? We can joke whether somebody's white collar or blue collar in their expertise, but we still all make the world go around, right?
Yeah.
Giving each other value for what we actually do.
Yeah, I can also tell you exactly where every Tim Hortons is from here to the West Coast. Both West Coast, whether it's the northern one out to like Terrace and Kitimat, or down to Vancouver. I can tell you exactly from every highway from Alberta where every Tim Hortons is. And where all the best food places are. Like, for example, Tim Hortons in William Lake, BC, is the best Tim Hortons you'll ever have in your entire life.
It's all the same chain food. How in the world did they make it better at one of Tim's?
Hey, Kurt.
Hey, Kurt, what's up, brother?
Thanks for joining us in the chat there, Kurt. Nice to see you on the open debate here. Thanks for coming over.
He's another one of our friends. He'd
figured.
actually be good in the box because he's kind of like us. We're very kind of open to a lot of like the questions, and he's very neutral on a lot of stuff. Kurt's a good person, and he's from Manitoba.
Oh, nice.
He's one of the ones I met down in
I'm disappointed Dustin hasn't requested to join here, or once again, I think maybe he's not able to. But
okay, rude comments aren't necessary.
Rude comments aren't necessary, but if you have, like, that's the little thing. If you can come on, and if you're not going to be overtly, if you're going to contribute something, you know, people get angry, and that's the whole thing, that we need to take a step back and realize that these comments that are being made are made in hyperbole. So it's not like he's making this comment directly to you. He's making it to a caricature that he's created in his head that he believes you fit into. And so the more that when they get angry, or when you get angry, regardless, it's on left and right, both sides. When we get angry, when people get angry, they're 9 times out of 10 not attacking the individual who's actually speaking. They're attacking what they believe the individual thinks and believes, and the caricature that they've created. And that's, once again, why I'm trying to do this, because the more people come in, thanks for the rose there, Kurt, the more people that come in and talk, I've had people come in and they're yelling and they get angry at first, but the more they listen and the more they discuss things, the more they realize that they're on the same page with a lot of things. A lot of the time, the way that they want to get to that end goal is different. but the
Yeah.
end goal is the same.
That's right. I think we've had a pretty good discussion. There's been no yelling or anything.
Yeah, I think it's been very good.
So what's your personal perspective on the Freedom Convoy? I'm assuming you're out Ontario way, or whereabouts in Canada? You said Canada.
Yeah, I'm in Ontario.
You're in Ontario. So you're a little closer to the thick of it. You probably hear a different story than we do on the West Coast.
Yeah, I think that it's been very split. I haven't heard too much information about what's going on in Alberta. That's why I like coming on here and hearing individuals who are actually out there and seeing what's going on the ground. But here it's been great. It's been amazing. Everybody who's actually been to the events. I don't have a good perspective on Windsor, but in Ottawa, things have been absolutely amazing. Like pretty much the safest place in Canada you could be right now. The best vibes you
I've
could
heard
ever
that.
imagine. Yeah, it's amazing, like absolutely amazing. Toronto, when they had their protests, not as good, not very good. There were a lot of counter protests, a lot of individuals who were also like rowdy, and it's a different city. It's a completely different city. And it's not a mix. It wasn't a mix of Canadians. It was straight up individuals who lived from that city that were going out to protest. And so the thing about Ottawa is it's a mix of all Canadians. When I was there, I met people from all across Canada, everywhere from BC all the way to Nova Scotia or OPI, yeah, like everywhere, all over, and in the U.S. people are coming in. There was support from everywhere, and so there was such a mix of like a diversity of individuals, but such a large range of like an age range that it was almost as though I'll always say this, right? The vibes is like major dad vibes. So it's like you don't mess around. Everybody's having a good time, but no one's gonna really mess around because there are so many kids or elderly people and family members that it's like the moment somebody does something wrong, there's going to be 10 other people there that are like, hey, stop doing that. Don't be doing that. You're doing something wrong. Like, don't be getting too rowdy. We're all having fun. We're drinking hot chocolate and sitting down and listening to this music. Like, stop doing that. Like, why? Like, even like if somebody was to hop up on a memorial or something like that, the one girl did that and she drank the beer. Apparently, the veterans were happy that she did that. I've heard some were happy, some were not happy. But even a situation like that, because of how divided people are, it's just like, hey, you're getting too rowdy.
Fuel,
Stop doing that.
fuel on the fire.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've
The
actually
vibes
heard.
were very.
I saw a video of not her doing it, but somebody talking about what she did and how the bunch of people were like, no, you can't do that because that's the tomb of the unknown soldier. And then afterwards, they actually went and cleaned it up, put roses down. Like I saw videos of like people that had put roses and stuff down, and then they were a little upset about the Terry Fox thing. I mean, if they can put a gay pride flag on it last year, why can't we put a Canadian flag on them? You know what I mean? Like, there's no difference. But people were, I saw a video of them like washing him down, making sure the base around him was all nice and spick and span again.
Yep.
Dustin said, "Be careful out there, free hugs," and he's not wrong. I got a free hug from Free Hug Guy. He had a shirt on, giving out free hugs. It was just horrific.
Oh, yes, the terrorism.
Not even
and
just
all
from
of it.
him. In all honesty, though, like this is what I said. I don't think that I've had that many hugs in the last 2 years. So many people were so happy just to be out and to be congregating together and seeing people without masks and that were happy and joyful to be out and about. And that brings up what people were asking before. Why was there no outbreak? I have not been that close to people in so long, and that amount of people. I was almost certain. I was like, I took it for granted. I'm like, I'm probably gonna get sick. I mean, why not? It was so cold. I was out there. There's all these people. If not, I didn't think that I was gonna get anything bad, but at least the cold or something. Like, but
Right.
no,
Because
it's
on the
great.
immune system.
Golden. I don't know. It's interesting, right? I'm interested. It's an interesting time that we live in, and the way that each individual person is looking at reality and interpreting reality right now is literally different based on the information that they take in. So,
Yep.
it's good to get those perspectives.
It's been polarizing for people that are trying to take the political information in, and some people I think that are my close friends. they have an opinion, but they've just shut down just because it's easier to not talk about it, which has been it's good and it's disturbing at the same time because I think there's a lot of change going on. I think we need to be the change that we want to be. So I've actually kind of joined in on the freedom rallies in Calgary and stuff. And I've got a friend that's like 5 foot nothing that'll slide in through the crowds and stuff and try and get it to the front. So I'm trying to keep up with her. But every once in a while, I'm cutting somebody else off. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I turned around to this little lady that was behind me after we cut somebody else off. I'm like, honey, do you want to stand in my spot so you can actually see what's going on? And she just turns around to me and she says, dear, no worries. And just comes up and gives me a hug. I'm like, this is awesome. Right? Just cool vibes. Just cool vibes.
Totally
And people
cool.
Perspective,
talk about stuff, right?
the perspective change and like the way like being there in person. The difference is throughout the past 2 years, at least here in Canada, especially at a certain time, things have changed a little bit within the last few months, but at a certain time, especially near the height of things, individuals would actively move out of the way to not come in contact with people. Like they weren't holding the like Canadians hold doors for people. They're you know at this point it was like you don't hold the door anymore. It's like someone's coming in, you definitely don't hold the door for them or anything like that. You don't
Right?
want to come that close to anyone. And to see everybody so happy and like not afraid to just love each other. Pure, joyous love
Oh,
towards your
yep.
fellow human being. And it was like, yeah, this is what we fucking missed. Literally, they've taken the love away from society where it's like you hate. And that's the whole thing. It is a love hate type thing where it's like that these events, when you're there, each individual loves each other for the human being that they are. And we're not afraid to express that you're a human. We are here to, and we can come in contact. We can communicate. Literally, these little things that seem like they're not a big deal, but when they've been taken away from you, it's a very big deal. To see the expression on your face, to see how your smile, to see how happy you are, versus the entire time that we've been locked down, thinking about the individuals that are out there that are going to hurt us. Everybody out there, you're going to hurt me. You're going to hurt my family. I should stay away from you. I need to not come in contact with you. I can't have a conversation with anybody. I can only have 5 people in my circle. Like this whole runaround has caused division so hard in people. And personally, I think there's a much larger issue at play, and we need to be aware of that. But in general, it's good to see people still express themselves the way that we deserve to express ourselves. The people that aren't afraid, if you have underlying conditions, if you're immunocompromised and you just you really should not be out in a large crowd, don't go down. Don't go to a large protest. Like I'm not saying that everybody should. I'm saying that at a certain point you may need to learn how to live with the situation at hand. And if nothing else, I think that the large amount of individuals that have come together through the past almost month has shown that life is back to normal. If that amount of people can come together and there is no significant impact to society, I can go to a party of 10 people. I can go to a party of 30 people. I was literally just with hundreds of thousands of people shoulder to shoulder.
Right?
I'm okay. I'm good.
I
And
100%
we can
agree.
expect back to all that stuff too. Because I remember stuff 2 years ago when it's all kicked off, right? And my job's the courier, so I'm basically working for FedEx. We're in the uniform dropping stuff at
Oh
people's
no,
front
your
doors.
sound went weird.
My sound went funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you sound like you're in a tin can.
Crap, still on her.
Yeah, still there.
Yeah, don't change it. Okay. I'll bounce out back in.
Okay.
That was weird.
You know what? It's actually happened a lot for me and not myself like in the live, but like watching other people in the live. Like it's like it happens occasionally. Like their sound goes, or I don't know. I think it's a TikTok thing. I don't like what you're saying, so I'm gonna make you sound funny.
It's a timeout. I don't know what it is, or the phone's too warm. Hey,
Yeah,
unicorn, what's happening, brother?
you're,
Hey,
you're
Keith.
back.
But yeah, 2 years ago when this whole thing started, it's like it was amazing how the fear changed from one week to the next. And what I actually really enjoyed about the whole initial part of it with lockdown and the kids actually being home is how many actually put up signs up in their front windows and said, "We're all in this together." Because the kids, I think, actually, and the families, and how many families wouldn't were scared to actually come out and see me, but they'd all be sitting in the front window while I'm dropping off their Amazon package, right? Like, there's a lot of cool, different vibes and chills and stuff. And then you saw some people that were really scared of it all, and rightfully so. Nobody knew what was going on in those early days. And I would literally jump off of the sidewalk and get out of some people's ways, and other people are like, "Dude, just don't worry about it. It's open, fresh air. Like, take a break." And there's a lot of people just trying to actually do the best they could to actually be respectful in a truly Canadian way, right?
Mhm.
That's
The
right.
fact that it's so divided over the 2 years is that's where I don't understand it.
Yeah. When did things become so divided between quote unquote unvaccinated and the vaccinated?
Yeah.
When and why, right? What is the purpose? What is the point of dividing Canadians between those two when 90% reported of Canadians are already vaccinated? What is the point in creating a division between those 90% and the 10% remaining? What is the issue, and what is the goalpost, right? The same as I've asked for individuals who are dealing with these protests, right? I ask, what is the end goal? When would you consider it a win? When do you consider like your job done, that you have enough attention on your cause and you're ready to go home, and that the protests are only further harming the cause? In the same sense, it's like, at what point do pushing these mandates only harm the public and no longer serve the purpose that they were set out to do, and are furthering individuals to stop getting the vaccines? I know so many people who have gotten two and say, no, I'm not getting the booster. It's like,
Yeah,
no,
me
I'm
too.
done. And people pretend like that's not real, but there are so many individuals out there who have said, I've done everything you said, and I'm not going to keep doing it. I'm not going to keep going along with this charade.
Yeah.
And then how do you define?
And then the next question is, what happened to 2 weeks to flatten the curve?
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for the rose. That's the whole thing. What that I just say, make it make sense, right? And so people just brush it off. If you ask that, well, the science changes. Yeah, science changes. It's not settled. And so for you to tell me that for sure this is going to work, when in the beginning people were saying, get jabbed, you're going to be safe, you're protected, you can't spread it, you're going to be 100% safe, you're not going to die. Okay, cool. Bam, go and get it. And then all of a sudden, well, the science changed. You actually can. And it kind of helps a little bit. You're going to be better off if you get it. So get it. But better off from what is the question? Because nobody wants to tackle the real world statistics around how likely you are to have a severe outbreak, and be hospitalized in general on a large scheme of things. Because like we discuss here, we all have our individual stories, and almost everybody's been affected by either the vaccine or by COVID itself. And so when you try to diminish how people feel when they know somebody who has been severely affected both ways, whereas like, you can't say that COVID isn't a bad thing, because there are individuals out there who get very severe cases and have a very, very bad time. It can be really bad. The same situation with the vaccine. Some people have very bad adverse reactions, and it can be a very serious situation. And so to dismiss either of the stories is to deny reality. We are living through a very strange situation, and at a certain point, how do we figure out how we move forward and live with this?
That's where we are now. How do we live with it? It's where we should have been a long time ago.
Well, it's getting to the point that there's so many mutations, and if you kind of study diseases, well, diseases will mutate out and they'll get softer as they go along. But that's where you go from having a pandemic disease, and I think they kind of changed the definition of pandemic with this one, because any one of the major plagues have taken out 5%, 10% of the population, which means all of us should know 1 in 20 people that are in our inner circles have actually died from it, not just gotten it, right? And you can say that's partly because we just have actually better medicine and all the rest of it. But where was I going with this?
I don't know. I'm gonna follow you. What?
Thanks.
There you
I'll
go.
fall back.
But yeah, the whole pandemic culture, we need to start actually discussing stuff as endemic diseases, which means it's a disease that's actually going to continue to mutate. And it's going to be around with us for a while, which is a whole different treatment plan rather than trying to just shut down the whole economy, shut down movement, all the rest of it, right? And that whole
100%.
endemic definition is totally a different thing than to be calling it a pandemic.
It should never have been called that, but that's just my opinion.
But then you get involved with the fear politics of it all.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, I stayed away from the vaccines myself just because I saw it as being a scientific experiment on a population. Because mRNA has never been considered a vaccine till now. And then you have test results that come out or test groups. So it's a little bit.
I don't know if you knew that, Nick, or not, but I joined a study, like a clinical study, that doesn't allow me. I have a little ID card and everything that says this person is not allowed to be vaccinated.
Huh.
So, and it's like a legit QR code thing, and I can use it to get in restaurants and whatever. So it didn't really affect me. But
Yeah, somebody told me to actually do that too, and I'm against the QR code stuff as far as tracking people. So
I
just
didn't really give out any sort of information besides a name and an email address.
interesting. But my
There
family,
was no birth date or anything. It didn't, nothing.
So I'm going to reiterate, just for everybody else out there, that if you want to hop in, hit the co-host button at the bottom, request to join. We always want to hear people's opinions if they do not agree with what we're talking about, because we don't just want an echo chamber of opinions that we agree with. We want other people's opinions. So if you're in the chat, a lot of people come into chats and decide to type their opinions. If you're able to hop in and speak your opinion, you're more than welcome here. This is not a place where you will be shunned. This is a place where your opinions will be welcomed, and we will listen with curiosity.
That's a good word to use, with curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like people are so eager to speak their mind and until they have to actually vocalize it, or you don't even have to have your face on camera. You can literally just vocalize it and use your words. But a lot of people don't want to. I don't know. I guess they're not as strong in their convictions as the individuals who are willing to stand up and speak for what they believe in. That's just how I
I
see
know
it.
I
If
watched
you
it
can,
for about 5 minutes and everybody was just talking and
yeah.
nobody was saying anything and nobody was jumping in. And I was like, screw this, I'm going in there.
Yeah. No, and that's usually the way it goes. A lot of the time, nobody will hop in until somebody comes in, and then as soon as somebody hops into the chat, then people feel liberated, and that's always the way it goes. No matter what it is, human beings are creatures of their herd mentality. We're a herd creature, and so like we need a society. We need group. We're group thinking individuals. So if you see somebody doing something that, like, if you agree with something, you want to do something, you will not everybody, that's why we have leaders. It takes an individual to step out of their comfort zone and show the other individuals that it's okay to do something before they're willing to do it. And so as soon as somebody sees somebody else speaking their mind, like, I can say something too. I actually have stuff I need to say, and they hop in. And I'm grateful for that.
Seriously, Venom.
Nick and debates, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have never worn a mask this whole time.
I have. I've been doing physio and stuff and dealing with medical doctors. So just for what it is, being in doctors and stuff, I just,
Which is
yeah, it's
cool.
not making people upset.
Hmm.
I'm not upset if it was to benefit your health. I don't, whatever, dude. You do you, boo. If you need to, then you can.
Yeah.
Kurt.
Uh,
Nick, how do you tell that you're well loved?
when somebody says stuff like that in the comments, holy cow.
That's right. You're
Yeah, I
well
think it
loved.
blows me a bit.
Apparently I'm not. I'm, he can say hi to the two of you, but refuses to say hi to me. Whatever.
I'll
This
give
is
you a
why
hug.
I didn't go back into the Telegram group.
Some politics
Yeah.
need to be left off. That's the thing, right? It can't be personal.
Well, there we go. Drama. Garbage.
Drama
So
sells.
obviously,
That's the whole thing. Drama always sells. When you get along and you have a good conversation, no one's screaming, it doesn't sell. Drama.
That's right.
Where people are tuned in. They want to see what's going to happen. Yeah, we have a lot of drama.
by
in
the
our
way, I like the
society
dreads.
today.
Huh?
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
know. I was
Like
actually
the
going to say the same thing, but I
They're
didn't
epic,
want it
dude.
to come off as like hitting on you or something. Thanks for
No,
saying
no.
it first, Nick. Be the leader here, buddy.
Hey,
You
no,
just
I
gotta do
appreciate it.
something.
The dreads are cool.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. Done
It's
these for
better
like
than my
7
dreads.
years
It's
now.
like all my hair.
Like a good 7 years now. It's been a while.
Oh no, he's in Ontario, Kaylee or Kaylin.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
So,
northern side, I'm south side.
Yeah,
did
I'm
you
all.
guys see? Did you guys see that in Peterborough here in Ontario there was a truck stolen with upwards of 2,000 firearms the other day?
Yep.
Interesting situation. And then all these articles came out last night saying that the cab of the truck was found about 45 minutes away from where it was stolen. But they all said that the trailer and the guns were not found. And then articles came out another 12 hours later stating that the trailer and a majority of the guns were found. But nobody's really reporting the fact that it was actually found. They're only reporting the fact that they put out the initial reports with misleading headlines that stated they found the truck, but they didn't actually find the trailer. And now they've found the trailer. Interesting time for it all to be happening. I almost feel as though it was a
Planted.
situation. This is all my opinion. This is not anything. This is all speculation. But I almost feel as though this was, quote unquote, a false flag operation that was just too
Convenient.
well planned, not well planned out. It was like, yeah, this would work, but it's like, yeah, no, it's a little too suspicious. Every single person immediately was like, wait, what? There was literally a protest across the road from the armory the next day, or around the exact same time. So like Friday, probably they were there, but I was there on Saturday, and in Peterborough,
Well,
there
what
there
do
were
you know about the
protesters
Alberta
across from
finding?
the armory. Pardon?
What do you know about the Alberta finding when they found the guns in Coots?
What I've heard is the initial reports were that they found them on individuals, quote unquote, relation to the protest, yada yada yada, and then further reports seem to have come out that they were found on a property of somebody that they thought was perhaps involved with with the protest. And it's like, okay, so you went to somebody's house and this is what they had on their own personal property that you believed was in relation to the protest, which is it's all about framing. It's the way the media puts it. So it's as though at the border during the protest, they pulled over one of the trucks, and in the back of the trucks were all these guns. But no, that's
Did
not
you
what
did you
happened.
notice how shiny they all were and how the vests didn't even look like they'd ever been worn?
I
Yeah.
don't think I've even seen pictures of
There
it.
was like a few days earlier, there was convening of that thing that happened in Peterborough with the guns and the
Yeah.
I heard all the
It's
ammunition was rubber bullets, though.
hmm.
A civilian never has access to rubber bullets.
I was thinking, where would you get them? It's an interesting thing because I don't think the majority of individuals who would be tuning into something like this or even looking at any sort of avenue of information that isn't coming from a mainstream source would like they'd have a different perspective. They're only seeing what the media is saying, but normal people, there are little tidbits of information. So whether somebody clips something from a show like this and shares it to their friend, or they take an article on Facebook of somebody talking, there's all these individuals that can give pieces of information for other people to look up. Because if I looked up the situation that was going on in Coops with the seizure earlier because I had heard about it and I wanted to know what was going on, and so I looked through a few different sources and saw what they were all saying, and ended up coming to the conclusion that this wasn't even at the protest, that it was at somebody's individual residence, and it was like during an investigation of something that they preconceived that this individual was in relation to what was going on. But if they weren't even there, so that's what makes it even weirder. They were at their house, so they're not even at the protest. But with that being said, if you're not going to go and look up this information for yourself, if you don't care, if you're just hearing, oh well, they found gun, okay, then that's all you get. You don't go and look it up for yourself. You don't see the revised article. You don't see the update. You just see the initial report, or even worse, you just see the headline and weren't even privy enough to go in and look at the actual information.
yeah, like I said earlier, I questioned everything. When I first saw that, I was like, what? Okay, now where's the real story?
Yeah, it's like, well, what happened? Like, because you've said you've been there, right? And so the vibes, that's not the vibes. You're not
Not
gonna pull it,
not even
and
remotely the vibe at Coots. Like not even close. It was just like what you said. It came out of Ottawa. Everybody was hugging. It was a lot of love, and I seriously have never seen that much food in one spot in my entire life. Like
like, yeah,
it was I think our friend Curb, like our friend Curb put it very nicely. It's like a cross between a family gathering, Christmas, and what was the other thing? I can't remember what he said, but it's like a giant, I don't know, a stampede.
yeah,
It's kind of like the Calgary Stampede. It's like a conglomerate of like because there was so much. Hey, or Donnie, uh, Donnie, whatever. Oh my God, my brain is hurting. I'm tired. It's been a day. Oh, yeah, Canada Day too. That's what it was. And it was all like a big, like everybody was so happy and loving and yeah,
yeah,
nothing,
just really nice. Yeah,
nothing what they portray anyway.
it's an interesting perspective because it doesn't seem like what the vibes would be on the ground when you're there, and there are children all around and elderly individuals and just average Canadian citizens. Um, the vibes aren't violent. It's not as though people are looking for things to get violent. And at least in my opinion, if the military was to come in and enact any amount of violence on the people, A, it would be the worst move for the Canadian government to pull, and B, I don't see, as of right now, I don't see the individuals that are within the protest doing much to fight back. I feel as though they would take what's happening because it's not something that is really being prepared for. This isn't a military stance. It's not an insurrection. It really isn't a group of individuals who are sitting there waiting for the military to come in and preparing for the military to come in. They're perhaps expecting it to happen at a certain point, but I don't see them arming themselves. I don't see them creating a military stronghold and blockading off avenues of the city to take over and hold from the police. The police are all intermixed within everybody there. It's not like they're cutting off resources to the police. They're not impeding the police from doing their jobs. And so if the military was to just all of
Amen,
a sudden
Jalen.
come in tomorrow and try to wipe them all out, they're not this isn't a military coup. They're not taking over the government. That would literally be the military just enacting war measures on their own citizens who are peacefully protesting.
Well, just the thing, we have another friend. His name is Jamie, and he was actually down in Surrey, BC, for
Yeah.
blocking the pack border crossing, and the cops there, he was live, and they were literally beating the elderly for not
Oh
moving,
yeah.
and it
Surrey
was the
cops are
cops that
fucked.
were, and it's the worst part is about it is that those few individual cops that were being a little too rough put out the bad image to for the rest. It's like the few bad apples just ruined it for the rest of them, because there are a lot, like I said, the Coots especially, that were so chill and like, nope, we agree with you guys. We're just here to keep the peace. And then you get the few might like that are, you know, you guys need to listen and do what I'm telling you to do. And they're very angry about the whole
Yeah.
situation that ruined it for the rest of them. So, and it's the same for our side. There's always going to be the few that ruin it for the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's
The
some people that are
difference.
very suspicious of the establishment, and they throw the police into it. And the thing is, we got police that are doing the whole blockades, making sure nothing goes funny at intersections and stuff the whole time too, right? Well, it's like I deliberately make a point of waving at them. They don't usually wave back, and half of them do, right? So it's like
Mhm.
at the same time, if you don't acknowledge them, you don't acknowledge them, right? So it's just be the change you want to be.
Yeah, I agree. And there is a thing where, the individuals who are out on the streets when somebody's getting rowdy or somebody does something that is making the crowd look bad, a lot of the time individuals will call them out on those actions and try to stop them from acting like uh, acting the way that they are. But when it comes
Yeah.
to the opposite side, the police do not hold each other accountable. When there's a group of 10 cops and there's one individual who's acting like a fool, very rarely is are anybody like any of those individuals are not going to call them out, because it's frowned upon to you're a team. That's the whole thing. You're supposed to be supporting each other, and so for you to be talking down to somebody who is on your side is only making yourself look weaker, which is a weird
Mhm.
tribalistic thing that has been ingrained in that group of individuals who are working, supposed to be working for our better, but not always in the
Yeah,
best intentions of the individual, I guess.
that's right, Kaylin.
Geo, come in and actually have some different stuff. We've been actually kind of talking all along the same lines. So if you have different opinions, feel
Hmm.
free to jump on in, buddy.
Yeah, we're only going to be going for maybe another like 5-10 minutes here, unless somebody with a different opinion pops on. But I'm down to keep the conversation going for a little bit. Somebody else wants to pop on, I'm down to keep it going even longer. But probably going to
Yeah,
wrap
there's
things
three
up
spots. There's one
soon.
more spot. I mean, if somebody
Yeah.
wants to jump out and just have like the two of them, or jump in, sorry, and just have like, because Nick's a really good logical human being.
Hmm.
That's why I love him so much, and his hair is really cool.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you.
But if somebody else wants to jump in and just have like a debate, and you be like, the moderator or whatever, I'll jump out. I have no problems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jump in with an opposing view. That's fine.
Hmm.
it's not meant to
Yeah.
be pack mentality.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's hopefully the more that I do these streams, the more people that hop in, the more people that join, the more that they will understand and realize that it's not an echo chamber and it's not a pack mentality. You're not going to be attacked from if you decide to come in and speak your opinion. I had a guy that came in and I let 3 people in all at once, and he said something, and then everybody else spoke for about 5 minutes, and he got super upset that he wasn't able to speak again, even though he was allowed to speak after. But it's the thing when you have three people in plus me, I was speaking as well, so there was two people. I was with the one person and two other people. We were all having a long conversation. When you have that many people in the chat, sometimes voices do get drowned out and you don't feel completely heard, and that's not what we're trying to do. So I apologize to that guy. I was never trying to drown out his voice because I want everybody to feel heard. But in the same sense, everybody has the right to speak. And so for the other individuals that were in the chat, they also had their opinions, and everybody did speak their mind and get to say how they felt. And that's what it's all about, right? You may not agree with what other people are saying, and you may have things that you want to say, but you need to respectfully listen to the opinions of other people.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Box etiquette is such a funny thing nowadays. It's like you almost need to have the talking stick, like you're in like elementary school, so you're not
Yeah.
yelling over the top of each other.
Point of privilege.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And even like as the host, right? I just clicked just to see, just to double check, but TikTok doesn't give you the opportunity to mute individuals, so I can't stop you from saying anything, and that's a good thing. I don't want to stop you from saying anything, but if everybody's yelling over top of each other, you can't even control the chat. You know, like,
Well, that's why it's
it
kind
was
of
like,
nice there. People are like just, I mean, I know he is, so, but I don't know you. I just met you tonight. You came up on my FYP, and I was like, "Who's this dude? What does that say?" Martial law. He was
yeah,
Freedom Convoy. I need in here.
yeah, good, good. The topic sucked you in.
The topic sucked me in, and now I follow you
Perfect.
because it
Gotcha.
and it has been really respectful, even with the other guy that was in here.
Well, it's easy to get upset when people disagree with you. That's the thing. And like you said earlier, when you get upset, you don't think logically. That's like the main thing that everybody should remember. When you get upset, the very first thing that you do is stop thinking logically. You are only thinking in your anger. That's all you care about. And so you're not going to make good decisions. You're going to say things that you would not normally say. You may believe the things that you're saying, but you wouldn't normally express yourself in that way with that manner.
It becomes fight or
And so,
flight. It's the definition of
yeah,
fight or flight response.
exactly, yeah. And a lot of people, they'll bail or they'll block and they'll run away. But other people, they will just get firm in their convictions and start yelling. They may not know why they believe what they believe, but they know that they believe it, and they know that you disbelieve it, and so you are the enemy, and I have to attack you in any way. And if you can get
Mhm.
past that and then start talking about the information, because if you're gonna yell at me for 10 minutes, then you better know why you're yelling at me, and then I'm gonna be here to listen, and I want to know, why do you believe the things that you're saying? Like, I can take it
Well,
if
you
you're
feel
gonna
like
yell. I can take it.
That's right.
Yeah.
it was Keith Michelle. That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Interesting
I think
world we
right
live in.
now it's kind of getting to the point where the conversation isn't so much what you believe in, it's what you believe the future is supposed to look like. And I think
Hmm.
what the rebuild off of this is going to be, it's going to be a big thing.
It's going to change Canada forever, I believe.
Yeah, I think that a lot of individuals, as ourselves as well, I think everybody, we don't really realize what a prolific time in history we are living through. And in retrospect, these times, not every year is going to be recorded in history, and kids won't learn about every era, but I believe they will be learning about this one.
Good point, Kaylin. We need to argue we need to argue what is right, not who is right.
Hmm. That's really true, 100%. Right, regardless, and I love that. That's such a good point. I love that because I always say things like, I don't care where the information comes from. You could be a neo-Nazi, Third Reich loving weirdo. If you have a good idea that could translates
Weirdo.
through, it can come through. But like, it can be a good idea. Doesn't mean that I have to agree with every one of your beliefs, but you can still have information that you put forth that is real good information. Like, your opinions on other topics don't dismiss your opinions or information on another topic. You know, they're completely separate things. Doesn't mean that you should admire certain individuals for beliefs that you, if you don't hold the same beliefs. Um, but it means that you shouldn't just simply disregard everything that they have to say simply because you have ideological differences.
Yeah.
That's right.
And lately I've been finding I ask the question, why are you angry about this? Why do you feel so
Yeah.
passionate about it? Because then you're actually allowing people to actually build up the framework that they're actually building their values on, even if they're not solidly basing themselves where they feel like they have to yell them at you. They're actually saying what they actually feel in a way that's healthy. Not in a way that they're being
Yeah.
judged, just they're actually allowing to actually speak their mind for once, right?
Yeah. Is it that time? Is it? He's staring at me like, are you gonna let me outside, right?
It's about that time.
It's always, I swear to God, he's like on a clock. I have a boxer, and he's on a clock.
Yeah.
No later than 8:15, he's up in the morning. Let me pee. Then he
Yeah.
has to go out at about between 11 and 11:30. Yeah, well, he's not really a puppy. He's almost 10. He'll be 10 in July. But and then it's like he knows. It's like 4:30 and he's like standing next to his food bowl. It's like dinner's not till 5. You have a half an hour, settle down. And then after he eats, he has to go outside. And then
I
when it
know.
comes
I know.
9:30, he comes around and comes out of his bed because he has a lot of naps. That's why I named him Dozer. He dozes off all the time. And he just gets out of his bed and it's usually 9:30, comes in and stares at me like he is now. Does that mean you have to go outside? Okay.
Yeah. He's gotta
And
go
on that
outside.
So,
note, I'm going to take my puppy out. It was great
Yeah.
chatting with you.
Nice
Thanks for
chatting with
letting
you
me
as
in the
well.
box.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you soon. Later,
Yeah.
Nicky
Come out
Poo.
anytime.
crazy.
Have a good night. Yeah, I'm probably going to end this here as well. It was really good chatting with you as well, and make sure you come out anytime. You're always welcome
Appreciate it, brother.
in the chat. Yeah, very good rational mind to help ease things through, keep things
No,
rational.
when I started talking about what's the difference between left wing and right wing politics in Canada, I think that was the most I could actually throw into it. Because I think a lot of us are
But
concerned about the finances of our country, and then the other side of it is we want programs. And people go at it from different perspectives that way.
yeah,
I don't know.
and
Do
then
you
the
have a
question
very different
is,
perspective on that?
not really. I think that a lot of it is like the fundamental beliefs around what, like how they want to achieve the goals. But I believe in the end, most of the goals that people want to achieve, especially here in Canada, are the same. It's just how do we believe? What do we believe are the right avenues to get us there? What do I
And
think
what's the
will actually
priorities?
help? Yeah,
What are their priorities? What comes first, second, third? Yeah. I think
exactly.
we
Yeah.
argue more about that.
It's the same. I saw somebody ask this question or like propose this question earlier today on the radio, where or at least they were making the statement, I guess, that an interesting perspective is they're a very liberal town or city, and their county was more vaccinated than the town, and they were blaming it on uh, right wing rhetoric and Trumpism, and the woman had said our town is 7-1 Democrats. So it clearly has nothing to do with Trumpism. We need to look into what's actually happening. And um, it's just a very good perspective to look into like what's actually happening and why individuals are choosing to make the choices that they're making and not just blame it on an external hypothetical in order to uh, make yourself feel better, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And the numbers have
Like,
been manipulated for a while. And actually, growing up, I think one of my parents' friends, the wife died from the cold or flu bug. I can't remember, but she basically left behind two boys and stuff. And that never made the news, but if that was COVID, she would be a COVID case.
Mhm.
And I think we've got so much extra fear built up on stuff right now. I don't think the actual death rate's changed that much more than the cold or flu ratio. It's just actually accentuated our fear of actually being alive or dead.
Let's pull them bumblebees. Thank you for joining us as well. Thank you for being here in the chat.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, brother.
Yeah.
Want me to
it's,
answer your 4 questions?
Yeah, sure.
Somewhat for the first one. I do agree with the Freedom Convoy. I am triple jabbed. And the reason for it was when it first came out, I was initially told me getting jabbed will protect my mother, who is of highest risk. So I did under false pretenses. And I'm basically at the point where I'm not afraid of it.
Mhm. So, what makes you believe that Canada is under martial law? I will say.
Well, I believe it's somewhat under martial law, not fully under martial law. It's somewhat. Because if you look at the Emergency Act, it only applies to federal land. That's why they had to be very specific in the word, and it says border crossings and near Parliament, because those are federally owned lands.
I'm just gonna say real quick. If you have the stream on in the background, it's
I don't.
coming. Something's blaring like coming through. Do you have headphones in?
Want me to try to exit out and see if that fixes and come back?
Sure.
I don't hear it, but
You don't hear it?
no, I didn't hear it. No.
That's just me.
But of course, we
Maybe not.
don't see the
Oh.
bounce, and people have been asking about the bounce.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's
I do
happening.
have the stream. I have the stream on in the background, and it is lagging a little bit, just to see if it was, and it is lagging just slightly, but hopefully it's okay, and hopefully the VOD works, and I can re-upload the video and get a good conversation for everybody to see and listen to.
Is that better?
Yeah, that should be good.
Yeah. So if you look at the Emergency Act, it primarily applies to federal lands. So border crossings, Parliament, it's all federal land. Where anywhere else that's not in the act is provincial land. And that's why it didn't matter if the premier signed off on it or not, because it's specific to federal land, not provincial land. It's a big
Okay.
difference between the two. So,
Okay. So,
but they did but they've now recalled the Senate
mhm.
because the
Yeah,
Senate
this-
is not sitting right now. They weren't due back till I think Monday, but they recalled them to come back for Friday.
it'll be interesting to see what happens when they make their vote.
Well, and then in the Parliament, they actually brought up the act today, which means now that it's been submitted, they now can only debate that and that only, uninterrupted until it happens. So they can't have any other. They can't bring up any other business except
No,
for
no.
the Emergency Act.
Yeah.
It's uninterrupted debate until they vote on it. Effective sometime this evening. So, but I don't think the Parliament's gonna. I don't think it's gonna survive the Parliament because, well, I think it's good. I don't think it's gonna get appealed in Parliament because they need 18. They'll need 18 Liberals to cross the party line, and I don't think they're gonna have the 18.
So it's still open to the House to actually do it. And is there any actual special clauses that they've actually said?
They basically
About-
fed the whole act. Everything Trudeau said on Monday is what's in the act.
So he's just doing it act verbatim. He's not actually doing it. Because does he have to have a cause or reason why he's actually lifting it?
Well, that's what they're debating.
Or lifting it?
That's the uninterrupted debate until they vote. So, but Parliament's not gonna overturn it because like I said, I don't see 18 Liberals crossing the party anyways. Because the NDP's already thrown their support behind it. So the Liberals plus the NDP, there's your majority and then some.
I don't hold anything down to being solid facts nowadays about how people feel about stuff or what they do. I
But
know
people
the
tend
whole
to go
party
with-
allegiance is a huge thing, but there's a lot more stuff going on politically.
Yeah.
And conservatives are willing to take their leadership out midway through the whole 4 years and actually change things around. You know, stuff is shifting hard.
But I know for a fact the Senate has gone against Trudeau in the past, so the Senate may do it again. I have more faith in the Senate than I do in the Parliament.
We're living through a
Thanks for
really
coming in,
strange
Randy.
time.
It is. And that's been the thing since this whole thing started right after Christmas. It seems people have been extra tired lately. I mean, this time of the year's bad for emotional energy for most people, but it seems this year, as much as we're all excited, people are also extra frustrated. So,
Well, the reason why people in Ontario are extra frustrated, myself included, is we were specifically told by good old Dougie Ford that, hey, we get up to 85% vaccination in Ontario with 2 jobs, we will never have another lockdown again. We're at 90%. And right after Christmas, he put us into another lockdown. So he's like, oh, get that 85% number, will never be a lockdown. And then boom, we're into another lockdown again. And it's like, okay, done. Because
Yeah.
goalpost keeps getting moved.
well, the same thing if you follow Israel and all that stuff. They're on what, their 4th or 5th shots already?
Yeah, 4th, I think for sure. Maybe they're 5th, because I know some nursing homes in Canada are now starting to give the 4th. And nursing homes in Canada are giving